Konami Studios. So, Birdgirl, guess what? it's got a show. Why? After how many years since Harvey Birdman ended, did we have to go back down this well? I don't know, but we did. It's a show, Birdgirl, the spin-off, the reboot, the relaunch of that universe per se. And I'll be honest with you guys, I did not enjoy this. You know, Harvey Birdman to me represents a certain style of comedy, of era of Adult Swim, where it's just like, we're not telling a concise story. We're making jokes. We're having fun. There's like a small thread of a narrative throughout every episode and throughout the entirety of that show, Harvey Birdman. But it's more just like off the beat jokes and random clips and blips we can just make up with characters that you're familiar with, and none of it has to connect, really. So when you want to recapture that energy for a modern audience, it's hard to do. And it's hard to get it right. And Birdgirl, it makes sense to me you'd want to do this. I wouldn't do it. Just because you can't capture that lightning again. But I understand the need to try, because Birdgirl herself is a fascinating enough character where she's different than Harvey Birdman, where she's different than some of those other characters in that world that you could potentially spin her off to do something different with. The problem that lies with the show itself is what it did, what it was trying to do. It just didn't have that same energy or feel or care or commitment to like the absurdity that Harvey Birdman did. And when you watch the episodes of this show, it doesn't flow perfectly. Birdgirl is about Birdgirl. She comes back to take over her father's company. And again, interesting enough premise. We've seen it before, but you're again losing that element of Phil. And Phil's a great character that we can like play with and explore, but he's not here anymore. You could just recast him too, I think, but whatever. So it's Birdgirl, she's taking over, and the jokes don't land every time. And that sucks, because I genuinely think it would work if you did the absurdity that you did with Harvey Birdman. But instead, you're trying to do like a 3-act structure where the plot happens each episode, the characters have their emotional resolution to each scene. That's not what this should have been. It should have just been Harvey Birdman. Do 11-minute skits where just random shit happens with this character, and it would work perfectly. But it failed to capture that type of comedy again. Even when you're trying to make it a little bit more, I compare it to something like Archer. And the humor that this show is trying to do is very similar to Archer, where it's like the standing around and talking, and then you have your big action sequence and that kind of stuff. It's a little more like Harvey Birdman meets Archer, and that should work, but it didn't. It didn't capture that fun. It didn't capture that energy of either of those other shows, which really sucks, because I really hope this would have been something cool. I've always liked Paget Brewster's interpretation of the character. She captures the right energy and the loudness and just the burst of entertainment that is the Birdgirl character, but none of it worked. The jokes don't land every time. The voice acting, it's fine. I don't have any complaints about the voice acting. Was it particularly well done? No, it didn't have any like emotional resignation for me, which I guess it didn't need. But again, I wish there was more to this. I wish it just had more interesting jokes and just more humor and more presented to it than trying to be a clearly obvious cash grab, or just like, we have this property, let's just make it into something because it already exists. And that sucks. Adult Swim is good at doing the stuff that's been familiar to you before, but this just didn't capture that energy. The new characters they introduce, there's not much to them, if I'm being honest. Like, I didn't have anything go like, oh, this character stood out to me. They're just pale imitations of comedy characters we've seen in the Adult Swim style before. Birdgirl herself is toned down a lot from her manic energy and just more to like we're trying to make this character work in 2021 to be appealing to all demographics, but it's Adult Swim. You're already not going to get every demographic you want. You should play into like what you're trying to already establish, and that is your already established demographic. Now, it's fine. The animation is good enough at points. It doesn't have like the stiffness of a Harvey Birdman, which I know a lot of people enjoy. I particularly enjoyed that too, because that's what the show is presenting, making it more fluid. It didn't add anything to the story, and that's what really sucked to me. It's like, there's a lot of potential here, but you just miss it on every tone. The characters feel off, the story isn't funny, the jokes don't land, and the animation doesn't play into its own strength. It's just a bunch of random things happening but not the kind of randomness that you want, that you enjoyed from this previous incarnation of Harvey Birdman. This is just flat, nothing interesting happens, and I think the 22 minutes really hinders what could be a great, tight show for 11 minutes. It sucks. And maybe it'll get better. 6 episodes have dropped. I think it might. Is it going to get more? I don't think they've said so, but I just needed to say, like, if you're going into this looking for that, you know, Harvey Birdman fix, you're not going to get it. It's trying to be something else, and it sucks that what it's trying to be isn't as good as what it could be or what it can be. And I just wish it did more, it became more, it had the ability to do more. And it is disappointing because there is potential there. It didn't live up to it. Paget Brewster will be fine. She'll do something else that's great. And maybe this team, if they did an original concept instead of like doing something with Birdgirl, it could have been fun to see. But this is what we got. This is how it is. We'll have to live with it. It might not last forever, but maybe they'll just come back in a new form that we're familiar with. I don't know. It's just stuff, man. Adult Swim's weird sometimes. But this is one of those things where I'm just like, you're so close to perfect, but you miss the mark on every turn. Whatever. Birdgirl, it could have been so much more, and I think what's disappointing is what we got. The jokes aren't funny. There's no particular standout, like the evil teddy bear thing. Not that funny. The one joke I did kind of laugh at was when her assistant was trying to like blend the perfect cup of tea, or was it coffee or something? She goes to like a different country, she falls in love and has a kid, and she comes back and it's not what Birdgirl wanted. And you're like, that's funny, at least that's trying to be that kind of humor. None of the other things really land. So I can't recommend checking this out. I just think there's so much more entertainment out there. Give Harvey Birdman another watch. I'm so disappointed and let down by what this show actually was, and it kind of upsets me that we got this. Birdgirl season 1. If there's more seasons or episodes coming out, I'll talk about them again, maybe. But as it stands, the ones we got, I'm going to give a 4 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.